Ooh, what's up, guys? Luca here for episode 134, I think, of the Scumcast. Scumcast. Tis I, your host, the Ashen One, the Ashen Lucario, the Ashen Luca. I'm here. We're doing this. It's time to go, man. It's finally time. It's the start of the new year, and absolutely nothing is really happening. It's been a very dead week. Dead couple of weeks, actually. People may look around like, where's your latest video? I'm like, I have nothing to talk about. And the stuff I have to talk about is stuff I've pulled out of literally nowhere. I'm just like, you know what? Maybe this will be fun to talk about. I don't know. So, minus that, we're just, we're going to get it started. I'm going to say shout out to my channel members first, and then I'm going to say hi to people in the chat. So let me just get a drink of water. Can you guys hear me okay? Is my audio fine?
Sounds phantasmal.
Oh, yes. Thank you, King.
Okay. Sound all right.
Great.
All right. Not good.
No, we said you're good.
So you're saying I sound ugly?
You lit.
You're fine.
All right. So shout out to my channel members. Shout out to Craig, the tech guy, Epsilon, Clifton, Cat Daddy, Daquan, Yobi, Bounty Boom, Forte, Ayo Greggy, Scrotum, Child of the Sea, Sean, Hannibal, Slomo, The Finest, Sir Taz, Hustle and Motivate, Sly Crow, and Bondi, Jarrell, Arotimus, Damien, Hades, Envy, Outlaw, Minute Repeater, Thundercat, Light Gamer, Meta, Sir X-Man, Brother Darkness Gaming, Robert Arlo, Emperor Rafe, Villain, Flamish, James, Sin, John the Don, Johnny, and Perfect Shogun. So, shout out to you guys for being members of the channel and supporting me in this way. I just added another tier, and that tier is us doing like a monthly get together, maybe the last Saturday or Sunday of the month, and like watching an episode of a TV show or watching a movie together and sitting in the chat, just chilling out for a bit, just talking. So if any of you are interested in that, if they accept it, if YouTube accepts it or whatever, right? And if you want to become a member of the channel, you can just hit the join button, and what do we do as members? You can submit topics. Yobi went all out. He submitted like 30 topics for me to cover today. So shout out to him, because there's nothing to talk about. And then what else can they do? Oh, the monthly shout outs. What else is there? Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, but shout out to you guys. I appreciate it. And then I'm going to say hi to people in the chat. What up to Blue Rhizome, Singer, Spencer, Cridge, Tyler, Pose, John the Don, Pong. Man, Pong has just been following me everywhere I go. Shout out to you, Boo. Literally, Pong is so cool because I just see him in every single chat just showing support. So shout out to him, man. Bargain Tuesday, Singer, Rob, Taz, MG Gaming, which I don't think I've seen you before, but what's up? What's up, Rob Dark, Spida, Angel, what's up? The Random Guy, what's up, Josue? What is up? What is up, guys? How are we doing today? Yes, we're here. I cannot believe we've made it to 2021, man. I was just ready to go. This entire okay. Anyway, so for the most part, the entire panel's made it to 2021. Like, it's crazy. I started this show in like the early 2018 or something,
like the 1700s.
Maybe. Like forever ago, and Meta, Slow-Mo, and All Day have been there from the beginning, and they're still here. It's like, it's insane. I'm just so happy about it, because that was like my big.
You pay us or something, Luca.
Anyway, so yeah, it's like I'm just shocked that everyone has made it to this point. So what's up, the Game Filter? What's up in Bondi? What's up, John? What is up, guys? What's up? What's up, Danajo, King Boo? What's up, guys? We're here. Are y'all more of a PlayStation or Xbox gamer? Well, I'm more an Xbox, but I just want to. I hit the platinum for Demon Souls. I just like to let people know that.
Tell them we don't partake in that console war nonsense. We own all the consoles over here. We don't play none of them, but we own all of them.
What's up, Spectre? Yeah, that's especially true for you, Meta. But anyway,
hey, I'm playing my Xbox right now.
Oh, okay. Do you have like a regular?
I played Fortnite the other day, guys.
Oh, that's true. You did say that. You're right. No, you're right.
How long does all those updates take for it to get done after you've been gone for so long?
I mean, it is what it is, man.
What's up, Bron?
I'm surprised I remember where the on button was.
No, I totally feel you on that. Only positive vibes this year. I can only hope that it's only positive vibes, but I get the feeling that it's not going to be like that at all. I think there's going to be a lot of negativity throughout the year, and I think there's going to be a lot of indulging in it. But whatever. What's up, Shadow Reaver Arcade?
I have a feeling we're gonna make it about a week before we hit the crumb slide.
Yes, it's good. It's all downhill from there. But in the meantime, I have Mooch here with me. Mooch is the first time he's ever been on my channel.
I know.
What's up, Mooch?
So
It is so good to be here. Honestly, Luca, thank you for the invite. And I'm the first in 2021. And it's so funny because I love what you're doing. You're like, we made it to 2021. When in actuality, it's what you said right there below underneath your subscription there. It says, first show of New Year, welcome to New Game Plus. Because really, 2021 is a continuation of just last year, right? I mean, what has really changed yet? Nothing, but it does feel fresh and new. So it's just going to be a good, I think it's going to be a good year. Slow-Mo's given us a week. I think we have a little bit longer than a week. I think there's plenty of games to carry everybody to talk about and kind of excel. We were talking about that pre-show. Like before the show, we were literally talking about 3-4 different titles that we're enjoying. There's not a lot of news, but there's always something like, the Ninja thing that comes up and then you're like, oh, all right. There's something to talk about. So
there's always Phil Spencer to go jump out there and and speak publicly again, for everyone.
Oh my God, you made shameless plug, Luca. Right? We both do this thing on both of our shows. Like on Crossfire last night, I say to Slow-Mo, I'm like, so then there's the Phil Spencer quote, right? And he's like, he spoke again, and I'm like, yes, he spoke again. When there's literally nothing to really report, they're still interviewing him. If I was him and Larry Herb was like, I want to interview you, Phil, I'd be like, not right now, okay, not now. Wait till in 3 months. Give me something to talk about. So it is what it is. But yeah, Phil goes and does an interview like that and gives us enough information to at least get a couple of podcasts out. So thanks to Phil and Larry for that.
So, okay, what exactly did he say during the show? I mean, I didn't bother to look it up because I figured
he said nothing. It was a bunch of nothing.
Legitimately, yeah. The thing that with the turmoil that everyone's kind of running with is he's saying again where he's excited for what's going to be coming out from years 3 to 10 out, right? So again, it depends on who you're listening to or what camp you listen to. A lot of people have been waiting in the Xbox camp since 2016. If you want to say like the newest IP, or no, pardon me, it was 2018 for Sea of Thieves. 2019, of course, was Gears 5, Luca. But like besides that, really there hasn't been a lot out of the Xbox camp in AAA, big bangers, and that's the thing. So now Phil's saying he comes out. Well, what do we want to hear Phil say to Larry? Oh my God, you guys can't wait for 2021. We've got this coming for you. Or like Slow-Mo, you were saying last night, coming in the next 18 months, we've got this game. And let me tell you a little bit about it. No, he doesn't really dive into any of the new games that may even be coming in 12 to 18 months. He's already talking about 3 to 10 years out. And you're like, well, we've been waiting since 2018. How long are we supposed to wait? So give you an example, whether you're a big fan of a game like Returnal that's coming out on PS5, and I'm not sure, I'm kind of on the fence on it. It looks intriguing to me, but is it something that I can't wait to play? I don't know yet. But at least there's a game coming out, right? There's something coming out. It keeps the PS5, it keeps the fan base feeling relevant, feeling like they're wanted, right? It's a feeling that Xbox is not giving their consumer base like off the bat here, especially, Luca, we talked about this before the new consoles came out, and you said, listen, I'm getting my Series X for Destiny. And that's a legit reason. There's nothing right or nothing wrong with that. But there's nothing really on the Series X that I come home and I'm like, I can't wait to strike that up and play this particular game, right? So that's the one thing we can sit here and defend it, and that's fine. I'm open ears to that. But legitimately, you need to have a game. And when Phil does an interview end of the year, if I'm sitting there in the Xbox camp, I'm like, give me something to chew on. Give me something that's coming out in the next 12 to 18 months. And again, nothing. You know what I mean? So like Slow-Mo kind of nailed it. It was a long interview with, not amazing results.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, oh, so what else was he supposed to say about the future of Xbox? Hey, look, we got some stuff coming. I don't know. I mean, nothing really, really makes me excited. I'm kind of lukewarm on everything that's coming out for the next 10 years. But hey, please buy our stuff. No, of course he's going to be like, I'm really excited for the games we got coming out for the next 10 years. Well, of course you are. It's your content. You're a salesman. You're going to tell us that. But when you give us no details, it's just like, so this is just a big nothing burger. But because he's got to come out, on his bi-weekly basis of doing interviews or talking to someone publicly and getting the whole internet riled up. That
wait, are we saying already? Are we saying already a month in that the Series X is dead?
No.
If you guys could please hit the like button, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. So for me, I didn't bother to watch the or read or whatever the interview because I love listening to Phil, but I just figured he didn't have anything substantial to say or new to say in regards to anything. But maybe that's okay too, because me and you've talked about this, Mooch. I feel like the executives talk too damn much.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I feel like they put too much information out there. I commend Aaron Greenberg when he let people know for that one show that, what was it, the Game Awards, when he was like, yeah, we don't get those expectations in check. There's nothing. All right. And I appreciate that from him because too often they are more inclined to hype us up for stuff only for us to be disappointed. And I don't know who said it last night. Maybe it was Bot, but like the whole, well, at least we know that they're committed to Xbox for the next 3 to 10 years.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a good thing too. So
I think that definitely holds water. I mean, there was definitely a period of time early on in Gen 8 that we were kind of talking about. Is Xbox going to get sold off to Amazon? Is Apple going to buy it? I know a lot of people listening now think that's comical, but it is something that we talked about over and over again. So here we are. You do have the head of Xbox who does have a seat at the round table at Microsoft, right? And he's sitting there and he's saying to you, we have plans for upwards of 3 to 10 years. That gives you a solace inside that you made a purchase of the Xbox Series X and the Xbox brand, so that moving forward is safe. So in that retrospect, credit to Bot on that one too. He did make a good point. That I'll take out of it. But Luke, it goes back to what you've said behind the scenes a million times. These guys got to just stop taking to the airwaves until you actually have something to promote, or something.
I agree.
I mean, that's
can we all agree they should just lead a marketing to the marketing people?
Yeah, so the marketing person needs a little help in that regard.
Exactly. The marketing guy be competent. Their marketing guy needs someone to review his tweets before he sends them out, because he be setting the company up. Hey, look, all these games are going to be running on the whoops. No, they're not. They're not running on the new console. They're just on PC. Oh, whoops, my bad. I didn't mean to say that. Like, come on, this happens all the time with them. So they just gotta stop talking as much. They talk the most out of all the other executives that run these gaming platforms. They talk the most and have the least to show for it. So it's just
true. Yeah, and it's funny you say that. Like everybody always wants to put Xbox and PlayStation in perspective. But let's take a second, step back and look at Nintendo. Nintendo actually had one of their driest years, right? And to be honest with you, you didn't see nothing. They've gotten a lot of criticism, especially on the heavy Nintendo channels on YouTube. A lot of criticism. You don't see Bowser coming out there, which is funny to even say his name, but you don't see Bowser coming out there and making a point, right? Or calling he's got to have his own airtime. No, he's like, yep, say whatever you want to say. We'll see you with a plethora of games in 2021. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care. They don't come out and do that. They legitimately do what Jim Ryan said. They let the games do the talking.
And the Switch is still selling like crazy too.
Oh my God, the numbers are I have to literally, like, you have to like rub your eyes twice and be like, is that number real? Like, is that legit? I mean, don't give me the whole it's $299, it's $100 cheaper than the PS5. Like, that's not, like, that is unbelievable that they're doing that.
It's been the best-selling console in the United States for the past 2 years. Do you guys think that's
close, Slow-mo, right?
Do you think that's going to continue in 2021? Do you think?
I think it will if they have games.
It is, because mobile, it's like people really want to game like in different ways now. People keep thinking, like I'm saying, that we're still in this old way of gaming, and obviously the Switch has proven that it's not. The power narrative and all that shit is really don't apply.
Yeah. I think it will continue until the PlayStation finally gets the ball rolling on manufacturing, where they don't have supply issues. Well, I think once that happens, then you'll start to see the PS5 start to win NPDs, but that probably won't happen until like spring or maybe even summer of this year. The way things are looking with the way stock is.
Yeah. All right. Let me super chat. Shout out to Forte. Forte is he's a panel member, but he's never here because he's at work and stuff. And when he does come on, he's coming on with like a Pikachu onesie on or something. I don't know what's going on. Yes. So shout out to Forte with super chat saying Happy New Year's to the squad. I love how our friendships have grown since 2018. Please know that I'm always here for every one of you. Keep being amazing. Keep being real. Keep and being such amazing people. Oh, not a goal. Shout out to you, boo. Appreciate that a lot. But anyway, yeah, no, listen, I don't really care all that much about Nintendo. I mean, I listen, I love Fire Emblem, but that's about it. That's the only thing I played on the Switch, and then I put my Switch away, and I haven't seen it since. I don't even know where it is. I mean, who knows? Who knows at this point? So,
well, you know what it is, Luca? I think the Switch needs, and you got to give credit to Crap. Crap's been saying this for probably about 5 years. Like, it needs like trophies, or it needs its version of achievements. It needs also an online presence, right? Like, if I want to like hang out with Meta or Slow-Mo or you on Switch, like legitimately, I'm just going to pull up Discord, right? And we're just going to jam out on this. Like there's no like real good way to communicate with your friends. There's no achievement tracker. And it's funny because I'm not an achievement hunter or a trophy hunter, but at the same time, there is that feeling of accomplishment. I don't care what it is we're doing in life. Everybody wants that accomplishment. Like even before you finish a project at work, right? Maybe somebody gives you that $100 bonus or whatever, just because they were like, you're doing a good job. You didn't finish it, but you're doing a good job. Like everybody wants that little bit of like a attaboy, like before you finish, to get to the finish line. Nintendo doesn't have any of that. You're playing the games. You kind of feel like you're desolated on your own island. Apparently, nobody gives a shit, right? Because they're selling 350,000 a month. So apparently nobody cares, but I think that you would see some of the hardcore from the Xbox and PlayStation camp utilize the Switch more if they would enhance the communication factor and the trophy/achievement system, whatever they want to call their version of it.
I think so too.
Right? Like I'm going today.
Everyone keeps saying that, but I think Nintendo just doesn't care.
Yeah,
they just don't. They know these are things that people have been begging for years, and they just been like, okay, it's the weird thing if you look at like their mentality on things compared to the other platforms where Sony and Microsoft have kind of embraced streaming, and their gamers like, oh, you want to like not only just play your game but stream it out to Twitch or at one point Mixer for Microsoft or whatever, YouTube. We have built in through the UI features that allow you to do that easier. So that you don't have to go hook up a PC and get a capture card or whatever. Here, you can do it all through the box that we provided for you. Nintendo don't even want you to do that with their games.
Yep.
So of course they're not going to build any kind of infrastructure that allows you to do that easier. We don't want you sharing anything. Like we don't want you streaming stuff unless we can make money off of it. So they don't even care. It's like to get them even to the point where they would actually care about building something like that within their ecosystem is just so far away from where their mentality is right now.
All right. Yeah, no, I can definitely agree with that. Nintendo's really much to their detriment, very old school when it comes to their policies and their mentality with a lot of stuff, which with this, the president, Doug Bowser? Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. With the new president, I was thinking maybe they'll switch things up. Maybe they'll make some changes, but that doesn't seem the case as of right now. But I guess we'll have to.
Because Nintendo of America is just a mouthpiece. They don't really make any decisions.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they're basically they get their marching orders from Nintendo Japan, and they communicate it in a way that this market can understand it, and that's really the long and short of it. That was what you call him's old job. What's the guy's name? He works for GameStop now.
Reggie,
yeah, that was Reggie's job. That's Bowser's job. If actual decision making is done just over on the East, unfortunately. So
that's true.
Okay, that makes sense then. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one.
What's up all day?
He is I and I is him. What's up? Happy New Year, motherfucker.
Happy New Year, all day.
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
All right, let me go ahead and get the super chat. Oh, shout out to Fork Boy with the super chat saying can't stay, but keep up the awesome work. I was on Wilmie's channel a couple of days ago. It was a great show. You guys should check it out. Awesome time with the boys. Really appreciate you guys having me, and I appreciate the super chat as well. Wilmie's in the chat right now, so shout out to him.
Yeah.
Thank you. Man, I definitely say, Ade, what do you think about all this stuff going on with Phil Spencer doing 30 interviews and saying absolutely nothing, and then Nintendo continuing to live off their outdated policies but thriving because people continue to just buy their products for some reason? I just don't get it, man. But I guess they just have games that people really want to play.
I think Phil just likes to talk.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe he should
honestly, you got to think about like the smaller stuff first. I just think he's a people person, likes to talk, likes to communicate, and some may not be in his favor all the time, but the man's gonna talk. So he has services to sell. So
yeah, no, I get that.
But don't you think that all of his talking sometimes gets him into trouble? And when I say that in the sense that in business, sometimes you gotta pivot and make a different decision. Yeah. And you take, for example, VR. Their plan with the Xbox One X was to bring VR to the Xbox ecosystem.
Right.
At some point, something changed. But you do all this talking, and you're talking about the things that you're doing, and you're saying we're bringing VR, and then now
when it doesn't happen. So that's why,
all that talking
kind of
like
chicken before they
exactly like if you didn't talk so much, that decision, like the whole internal decision to go VR and then changing your mind, nobody would have known anything about it. So there would never been any expectations upon you to actually bring VR, not because we just want VR, but you actually said you was going to bring VR and you didn't. And so it's just always like you see these things where Phil will say, well, like I don't really want to show any games that are too far out. I only want to show games that are like 12 to 18 months out. And really, he was only saying that because he didn't really have nothing to show.
Right.
I also think a lot of it had to do with the cancellations, with the closing of Lionhead and then the cancellation of Scalebound. They're just being really careful with it, I think. And I think that's smart, too.
But what they have to do is they have to sell it. They have to sell the service, or they have to talk a lot just to alleviate some of the pressure that's already on. You know what I mean? They have to keep your mind focused on somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but all the thing is that like when you talk so much that when you have a running narrative right now is we don't have a lot of games to show, so we just going to he's going to make up something. Hey, look, I don't like showing games that's too far out. I don't want to get your expectations thrown out of whack when the game changes drastically during development. Okay, that makes sense in the moment, but then now you got stuff in the pipeline, a ton of stuff in the pipeline with 23 studios, and now you showing games they ain't gonna come out until like 2023, 2024, and it's just like, but you said before,
you wasn't gonna do this, right?
I mean, he has switched up a lot, quite often, his viewpoints on certain things. Like Random Guy mentioned, folks are still using that single player quote against Phil, which is very true. Which I mean, I understood what he was saying, but with the you know exactly what I mean. I'm just saying it's like single player games have done substantially well since he stated that quote, and people took it as a him saying that single player games are just not viable, when in reality he was just talking about it from a financial standpoint. So I would think even now from the financial standpoint, that's been proven kind of false too, because you look at like some of these games that's so ridiculous. Like even most recently Cyberpunk single player game, 13 million despite all the issues, all the problems. Red Dead 2, so like 20 million or something. Spider-Man, God of War, we can just go down the list. The Last of Us Part 2, all these games sell.
A lot of times when it comes to Phil, you also have to understand, like it's what All Day said. He said he has to sell services almost more than the games. He has to sell the services. That's what his deal is with Satya Nadella. Okay, that's how when people like Phil saved Xbox, that is a true statement. He did, because he was okay and gave a plan on how they would utilize Azure and other things in Microsoft's wheelhouse to be able to capitalize on gaming. So when it comes down to it, he made those statements like you were just saying, first single player games, blah blah. Of course, all of that's been completely debunked, right? Like it doesn't make any sense. He was off there, but he wasn't off because I don't know if he actually wanted to say that, or it's because he has to say that, because really, what is it when you're talking about selling services and having games that are come back again in Game Pass, right? Yes, there are things like Telltale's games that are episodic, etc. But usually it's like a Destiny type game, or it's a game as a service, right? That keeps you playing multiplayer game. And that's what they're selling. That's what Xbox wants to be. The problem is that since they've instituted that plan, we haven't seen it really happen except for like Sea of Thieves. And let's be honest, even with Sea of Thieves blowing up like it did, it's not necessarily a game for everybody, right? It's just not like, it's not the numbers. It did much better than we thought it would do, but it didn't do like what Rogue Company did, right? It didn't do even what Among Us did, right? It didn't do even what like Fall Guys did. Like it's not doing those numbers because it just doesn't hit the masses. It just hits a larger group than we thought, but that's what they have to sell. And I think that All Day really hit the nail on the head with that. That's the problem, I think, moving forward with Xbox is when you see their games, everyone just waits and sees Is this going to be another game they just throw in the Game Pass? And then is it going to be another game as a service? You're waiting to see how the services play a role. They're not going to have a ton of first-party single-player games. They may have 1 or 2 down the pipeline, but I think the majority of them are going to focus on that service of Game Pass, being able to play the game on xCloud and playing with your friends. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, Luca, but when you go back to the Xbox 360 and the original Xbox One group from 2013, that's not necessarily what the fan base was looking forward to moving forward. They may enjoy some of the services, but it's not what that hardcore Xbox group initially kind of signed up for. I think that's what you're seeing here. And that's why you're seeing it in sales numbers. You know, you're seeing it across the board. Like, I'll give you an example. Everyone's talking about Hive Busters, and I've played it to a certain extent. I'm probably about halfway through it, right? But I played it just the other day. And I got a rare achievement. Like, everyone's like, it's great, right? Everyone's playing it. It's amazing. Mooch, you got to play it. It's great. Everyone's playing it. And then I go to play it, and I'm getting rare achievement. Like, I shouldn't be getting a rare achievement, you know, after it comes out for 3 weeks.
Hive Busters.
You know what I mean?
Hive Busters.
I thought it was a mistake.
You know, you're getting a diamond achievement just for loading into it.
Yes.
Wait. Hold on. I don't think that's not a good measure in a game success if you're getting rare achievement. Did it say the percentage of people who got the rare achievement?
It normally does, doesn't it? Doesn't it say like
it's like 2% or less than
1,000%?
It's gotta be like under 5% for it to pop the rare achievement for you.
Yeah, because I got like 2 rare achievements, like with the diamond and stuff for Cyberpunk. And like that game sold 13 million across the board. So, you know, I just don't think that's a good measure of whether or not a game is successful or not. I mean, people really like the Hive Busters DLC. I have zero interest in it myself, but it seems like it's doing well in that regard, at least.
Yeah, I still need to play it.
It looks really good. It looks great.
Yeah,
the game looks impressive. I mean, there's nothing. But all day, I'll tell you this much: if you have an Xbox One X or a Series X and you've played Gears 5, like they've been telling us to do for the past 3 years, it's a continuation. Like I don't. My point is, I don't believe you're going to turn on Hive Busters and be like, "Holy shit, what is this?" Yeah. You know what I mean? If you've played Gears 5. You've played
that, then you're good and you'll like
you're
it.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, it's not like I gotta run out and go get a Hive Buster with a bee on my back. None of that.
No. All right, Singer, you have something to say about Philly?
All right. So
what's up, Singer? How you doing, man? Happy New Year, bro.
Happy New Year, old day. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You get some good breakfast today?
Oh yeah, I had an amazing breakfast.
Bean smoothie.
Shout out to Dirt with the super chat saying,
Dirt!
What's up, Luca in the panel? I was on
Dirt Griggity. What's up, bro?
I was on Dirt's podcast a couple of days ago. Really good show. I had a lot of fun with it. You know, really good guys there. Really good conversation. I definitely
shout out to Sean.
Out too. Yeah, shout out to Sean. Love that guy. So yeah, shout out to you, Dirt. Thank you.
Thanks, Dirt.
All right, go ahead, Singer.
All right. So what we're not going to do in 2021 is immediately jump on the Phil hate train.
Speak on it, King. Defend him.
Is it hate? Is it true? Is that hate?
We all love Phil.
All right. So what we're not going to do is he really trying hard to come up with something. No, I
had to open up that book.
People make Phil talks in an interview, like the end of that was an annual end of year interview he always does. Now people make up stuff from what he's saying and tries to spin it into other stuff. This guy is just talking. Sure, has he flip-flopped? Yes, you can't deny that. That is a certified fact. But there has to be a reason why they flip-flopped on the subjects.
Right. That is true.
Like, it didn't just come out all of a sudden and say, oh, you know, Scalebound's cancelled. Take that instance, for example. Okay, he announced it, but something happened to force his hand.
Yeah, Xbox always got problems. We know that.
Right, yeah, right.
But that's not even like a... I mean, that's not an uncommon thing. Games get canceled all the time. It's like, I don't have a problem with Scalebound being canceled. I also didn't have a problem with Fable Legends getting canceled. I was in the beta for that. The game was trash. It deserved to be canceled. It should have been. It was a bad idea to begin with.
Look good?
Yeah, it did look great, but played terribly, and it's not what Fable fans wanted from Fable. You didn't want this evolved wannabe kind of game. That's not Fable. We wanted an actual mainline action RPG Fable. But to get to the reason why I'm saying this is that I don't have a problem with Phil's. I don't have a problem with all of Phil's decisions. I don't have a problem with Phil making these kind of decisions. What I'm saying is that he talks so much that, and you bring it up like he does this annually. He talks with Larry Herb at the end of the year annually. That's not the issue. The issue is that people are tired of seeing him talking about nothing when he did like 5 interviews from the time of launch to now. And this has only been a month and a few extra weeks since then. So
if you're launching a product, you're gonna do interviews because different outlets are gonna want to interview. Like IGN's gonna want to have you on, GameSpot's gonna want to have you on. Are you saying the same stuff? Yeah, but they want you on there to generate the clicks or whatnot.
But Beth, the question I have for you is that why don't they have Herman Hulst on? They don't ask him to come on. They don't have Bowser on ever. It's because Phil gets out there and he's an open book. Like he's like, I had this for last night's dinner and I really didn't like the cook. It's like, Phil, calm down. Like you don't have to say everything. Like, and if you are going to say something, like Slow-Mo made a great point last night, I'll say it again. Like if you're going to speak about the future, pick a game that is furthest enough along that you can openly talk about and dive in a little bit and tell the consumer what's coming out. Like let's say Perfect Dark, right? So we saw Perfect Dark. So now Phil's interview. Well, when you go into the world of Perfect Dark and you're Joanna, blah, blah, and you're going to have this and you have a gun and the gun will actually do something that never has been done before. You'll be able to freeze time. You'll be able to tell a little bit about the story. Get people excited.
The thing is, you can't. The game was just announced, so you can't really go in on it because you don't know how much of the game is done. They're evidently not ready to talk about it.
I disagree with about where the game is first or third person perspective. I mean, like there's some things that are just this is a foundational part of the gameplay in the game, and that's not going to change. Whether
the CDPR dev switched from third person to first, so.
But then it's up to the studio whether they talk about their game when they feel ready.
Wait, what game are they talking about?
Their game. Like because the studio,
Perfect Dark.
If in the initiative they told you when they revealed it, this is in early development. They are not ready to speak on what the game's going to be. They gave some.
They should have spoke about that fucking whack ass trailer. That's what they should have spoke about before they fucking aired it. Fucking flying
Wait. The Perfect Dark trailer was actually pretty good.
You like flying on a Dorito hang glider? That's what you like?
A Dorito hang glider? I don't think they showed enough for me to give an opinion. No,
not at all.
The trailer was good.
No, actually, and I'm actually going to defend them for a second here. Death, what I'm saying to you though is that we've had Plaid Knuckles, who's that's his @ on Twitter, who's one of the developers and one of the lead guys over at the initiative, right? And
he's Drew Murray.
What's that?
Is that Drew Murray?
Yes, Drew Murray. Yes. So
yeah, I like him. He was the lead guy on Sunset Overdrive.
Right. He tweeted exactly. He tweeted out pictures. He said, "My family's been playing this game." He's like, he's got the picture of Phil trying the game out. So what I'm saying to you, Death, is don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about getting into in depth, but if you're doing an interview, Phil's played a part of the game that systematically you would think with his team he's discussed will not change, right? It's going to be like Slow-Mo saying a third person shooter. It'll be over the shoulder, blah, blah. It'll be first person, whatever. Discuss some things about the game. Get the fan base excited versus being like, what's going to be great about 7 to 8 years from now, right? I mean, like we know 7 to 8 years. I mean, when you watch WWDC and everyone is very split down the middle on Apple here. Okay, but like Tim Cook comes out and he's like, "Oh, you guys are going to be so excited for what we got." Well, no shit, that's what he's going to say, right? Phil's got to do the same thing. So I cut these guys some slack on the corporate level. But if you have the opportunity, Death, to actually talk about a game and get your fan base excited as we move into 2021, even if that game's not coming out, there are things to talk about.
But is it the case? He can talk about it, but the initiative don't want him to talk about it, so he can't talk about it. Because if the initiative say, "Yo, don't bring up our game," don't talk. We'll talk about it.
Wait, have you ever told your boss that you don't want them to do something and they do it anyway?
I mean,
yeah.
Hey man, don't fire me, man. Fuck that, man.
Who cuts the checks? All right, so who signs the checks?
Yeah.
If you want to talk about what he played on Perfect Dark, guess what's going to happen? He gonna talk about what he played in Perfect Dark, whether they like it or not.
But then he did, they generally stay their hands off. Evidently, he didn't want to talk about it. And the point of the interview with Larry Herb was literally just a wrap up of 2020. Basically, it's the annual end of year. It's like, how did 2020 go? Like, he spoke about how they, throughout the year, they had to make certain preparations because of COVID. They had to, how they fixed everything. So I wasn't expecting any deep, insightful knowledge because it's like, oh, it's just the wrap-up show. It's whatever. You could take it and leave it.
Okay, well, I have a question.
What?
I feel like we're pulling Phil in a lot of different directions. What's our preference? Will we prefer it if he came out and said something, or if he just kept everything to himself? Is there a middle ground that can be had here?
I do think there's a middle ground. I think speak up and definitely let us know what you guys are working on when you know for certain you're actually going to do something, and when there's actually a moment or a time to show us what you're doing. I think he speaks too much, and because he speaks so much, he ends up kind of tripping himself up with things, as we said before, where they decide to not go in a certain direction that he already said they were going, or it's just a bunch of nothing. And so it's just at this point, just talk when you had got something that's really worth talking about. And to Singer's point, yeah, he does this annually. I'm not saying don't do the Larry Herb annual wrap up of each year, but the fact that you've been doing interviews on a weekly basis all the way up until this point makes it just overkill. Like last year it wasn't overkill, but then now it's overkill.
Yes. Can you guys please hit the like button? I would appreciate it. So, that being said, right, are you saying that Phil should do less interviews, just like how you should stop doing 30 podcasts a week? Because you're going to the same show saying the same thing. What's going on?
You know what? All right, look. I didn't do any interviews. I said interviews.
You said interviews.
I didn't do any podcasts for like a full week and a half. Okay?
Woo! Yeah.
I'm just making up for lost time. Okay.
So the thing is, people bring up like Herman Holst, Jim Ryan, and like Doug Bowser, but they're not really talkative people. Like, you don't hear from them. They're never on Twitter. They're never.
That's true.
That's not true.
That's not true. Jim Ryan talks a lot, man.
They call him Loose Lips Ryan, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's taken after Phil, but the Doug Bowser's like the quietest. He's quieter than Reggie. Let's be real. And so I'm like, okay, but these people aren't really accessible. Phil, he's always in the community.
Those two. How about you compare those two, Reggie and Phil? You know what I mean? That's a perfect comparison. Think about
Reggie and Phil.
Reggie talks a lot.
Yeah, he does.
A lot.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really say anything. He talks a bunch of nothing too.
Right.
But he talks in a concise order. Like, it's never shit that's not about to happen. He might not tell you nothing. But, he's a people person. He talks.
But then, right, Phil, right. I don't know if Jim Ryan and Doug Bowser are gamers, but Phil definitely is. He's straight up a gamer, whilst being in that position.
What does that have to do with anything?
No. I'm just saying he loves to interact with people, so it makes sense that he'd be talking a lot. If you're a social butterfly, as I like to call him, then you love interacting with people. So of course you're going to talk your head off, and people will listen because you're the head of Xbox.
So, but then I think about that in the same aspect as in if you talk a lot and you're used to talking, you should know what the fuck to say and when to say it.
Well, like I said, I do find Phil's way to talk around things to be very impressive. Shout out to Enrique with Super Chat saying Happy New Year, Luca and Pano. Shout out to you. Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year,
man.
Happy New Year,
they used to call Phil the Green Juke.
Okay. Why is that?
Because he can dance around any fucking topic.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
It's the Green.
I want to point out something that Sam Alton in the chat just said. He said Matt Booty runs the games division. Why don't he do more interviews with?
He does. He talks a decent amount, not a lot.
Yeah, he doesn't talk anywhere near as much as Phil does. But I would just think I would actually much rather hear from Matt than Phil, because Matt sees more of the games.
Matt doesn't really say much. Like in his last couple of interviews, he's like, he generalizes what the studios are doing, but he's like, oh, we're generally hands off with the studios. So I think he's just, Matt's just quietly working away. Let Phil be the face of Xbox, and he'll just do his thing behind the scenes.
I mean, you probably wouldn't talk that much either if every time you went to a fucking interview they say, hello, Mr. Booty. You wouldn't want to hear that all the time. Just call me Matt, all right?
You said that's Matt B, all right?
Hey, Mr. Butt, come here.
All right, yeah, I mean, like I said, I get it, and I don't mind it. It's just, it really does come down to I would prefer,
just wait and see.
Well, I would prefer to read an interview of his where he has something substantial to say, and I feel like he's told a lot of things. He's let a lot of people know a lot of stuff about a lot of things. So I appreciate Phil's interviews, just not in this case. So, all right, let's move on. So there was a clip that was going around. Ninja got into it with some 17-year-old kid. How we know the kid was 17 is because he said, I'm 17, as if that was going to make a difference. Like, whatever, right?
17. I finally saw that clip. I'm like, this
I'm
kid
17.
Damn near 40.
Is it on Twitter or something?
Yeah, it's on Twitter.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it, and
Yeah.
But yeah, for me personally, I was just kind of like, when I watched the clip, I started laughing because I thought it was funny. I thought the entire thing was just goofy. It was just a goofy, the kid sucked and Ninja's like, you suck, It wasn't even like a big deal or anything like that. And people saw it and they just like, they freaked out on him. They're like,
wait. People are calling him a bully now. Please don't tell me this is happening.
Yeah, they're saying that he's toxic. Toxic Ninja.
Yeah. All day.
We can't even trash talk, but it's okay to go in a fucking stadium and throw a beer bottle at somebody's skull.
Right.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, and I, like I said, I saw the clip and I just started laughing a little. I was just like, this is really not that big of a deal. It's not like you didn't even tell the kid to go kill himself,
I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but if you can't handle Ninja telling you suck, what do you think's going on in the Call of Duty lobbies?
Facts.
Yo, have you listened to the comms? And they're like 13-year-old kids telling you all kinds of crazy ass stuff. And you're like, hang on a minute.
Playgrounds, man.
I hop in them Call of Duty matches. They told me to slice my own throat with my own knife.
Right. So, like, how is Ninja saying you suck?
Right.
And he can say you suck because he's genuinely that good at the game. So it makes sense. It's like a pro player telling you suck. Well, he's a pro player. You're not. So, I mean,
man, fuck all that. Fuck all that. Let's talk about Ninja and this and whatever happened with this. Let's keep posting the clips of saying the N-word. Do that. But that's the clips that need to be going viral.
Yeah. When all day told me that Ninja has said the N-word before, and I was just like, right, really? Because I've never heard anyone say anything about it. So, but this is something that gets people more worked up into a tizzy than that, which is crazy to me. It's just very odd.
I had no idea that he had said that before.
See, it's what I'm saying. I didn't know either.
They have a compilation video of it.
Wow.
So it's more than once, bro. And you're using hard ER and the A, both.
There has to be a reason why nobody knows about this.
I gotta see this.
Type it on YouTube. There's a black dude reacting to it. It's the funniest shit in the world. But yeah, you go on YouTube, you can find a whole bunch of videos.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I think, and as someone who used to watch a lot of podcasts, but checks out shows here and there, I want to ask the question: has the word toxic lost its meaning? Because I see people saying this is toxic or that's toxic, and it's just like, no, it's just general stuff. It's not even that big of a deal. It's just like, yeah, Xbox sucks. This is the most toxic thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's way overused. It's used in every little bit, and the word toxic has definitely lost its meaning. Fuck.
Yeah, at this point, I don't really have any feelings about it. It actually has gotten to a point where when I see someone call someone else toxic, I cringe a little because it's usually something completely, it's such a non-issue that I'm just like, oh my God, like I hate the fact that people use this word, Like,
for example, my son plays Fortnite at night, right? And he'll be like, somebody will do something like, I'll be watching him play and somebody will do something like reload too fast. Oh, look at him, he's being toxic. What do you mean? Like, everything is toxic to these kids, bro. Every little thing is toxic. I think it's a form of speech now.
Yep.
Shout out to Enrique with Super Chat saying Ninja's comments were PG compared to the Xbox Live lobbies on the OG Xbox and Gears on the Xbox 360.
Wow.
Toxic is overused now.
Yeah, like I said, it's
I
a new
really
slang word
commend Enrique for not even being here and yet being able to mention the fact that he, was on the OG Xbox, because he often does that. Shout out to you, Boo. Appreciate it. Thanks for letting us.
He basically wears it as a hoodie.
Yeah, no, but I honestly, see, Brandon's like, you bots also ruined anti-consumer. Yeah, I think that people use anti-consumer a lot. I think the whole, I'll use something for example. I think the controller thing, when people were saying that not being able to use a DualSense was anti-consumer, and I was just like, man, I have a hard time. I have a hard time caring about this, man. I'm sorry, And I was definitely like, it would be anti-consumer if they didn't sell you another controller or they didn't put another controller in the box. But as it stands right now, it's like, Xbox in general has made it so people start to second guess whether or not something is okay, right? Like that, they're not the first ones to do it. But like there was this huge embrace for the whole backwards compatibility thing. People were putting a lot more substance on that, and I feel maybe other corporations felt more compelled in that regard too. Like I said, that's not the first time. They're not the first ones to do it, right? But it's just like because people from on the Xbox side were very very hype about backwards compatibility, which I am too. I think it's great. Right. A lot of people on the PlayStation side were like, no, back compat is whatever. But a lot of it had to do with the fact that Xbox didn't really have any games to show off. A shout out to Enrique with Super Chat saying, I wear my OG Xbox badge with honor because I am old.
I think, Luca, you made a good point right there, though. And that's, Xbox is trying something new, mainly because they kind of have to, right? The model that was going forward with the PS4 and the Xbox One generation, we saw how that generation ended up. It just didn't work out, right? You saw the numbers were in a steady decline as the end of last generation kind of came to a close for the Xbox One. So Xbox seemingly goes out and tries something new, right? They have Game Pass. They throw their games in there, one price, right? You have the controllers that you had for Xbox One are now going to be used. They're compatible with your Series X or Series S. So all of a sudden, like you were saying, everyone's saying, oh, well, it's anti-consumer that Sony's not doing that. Listen, Red Robin gives you like free fries when you walk in, right? But McDonald's and Burger King didn't start giving out free fries. So like just because somebody is trying something to get you to ploy to come into their shop or start buying from their brand, it doesn't necessarily mean that McDonald's and Burger King are now anti-consumer. Well, Red Robin gives me fries when I sit down. Why don't I get fries when I just get in here? Like someone should just throw fries. No, that's the thing. So it's not necessarily that Sony and Nintendo are doing anti-consumer things. It's that Microsoft is trying to win over. He's trying to win over the consumers that they lost. You know what I mean? So what are they doing? They have to take that extra step. They have to give a little bit more. That's part of the whole capitalism thing, right? It's like you're not doing well. You try to do a little bit more than your competitor and hope that you bring people over from the other store to your store. So again, Luca, great point. It's not anti-consumer by no means. It's a different strategy. And to be honest with you, some people will say it's working. Myself personally, I think it's a wait and see. I don't think we have anything concrete that say it's working yet. We have to wait at least a couple of years into this next generation and see if this whole thing works out. But it is something new. It's something different. And if it is successful, Luca, you may see Sony do something similar or Nintendo do something similar. But until it is uber successful, they don't need to follow suit. And that's what we're seeing. They just don't. You see Jim Ryan saying we're going to do red carpet, like The Last of Us 2 sold like gangbusters. You had Ghost of Tsushima sold unbelievable. Miles Morales sold really well. Everything sold so well. So nothing is really pointing Sony in the direction of giving away anything or putting anything into a package because they seemingly don't have to.
Yeah, I get that. Shout out to Enrique with Super Chat saying 2 words that are overused, anti-consumer and toxic. Yeah, I agree with that. I really think that when people overuse a word in that instance, it's like when something actually happens that fits the definition, folks are more inclined to not believe it and to be dismissive of it because it's used, Yeah, exactly.
It's like the fake rage though that we have in the community. That's why it like turns you off to the fact that like when people actually get upset about shit, like you're like, okay.
100%. I definitely agree with that. So, I don't really care about Ninja as a person or as a content creator. He's, I can acknowledge that he's, what is he, like the biggest in the world? He's very successful, but I just think it's funny. I think it's funny that people get upset at him just throw in a couple of shots here and there to some kid. Like, who gives a shit, dude? Like, whatever. It is what it is, and it could always be a lot worse. So, do you guys have anything else to say on this topic?
No, I'm good.
No.
But I know I just want to also confirm what all they said. I just looked up the video, the compilation video of them just saying.
You seen it, right?
Oh yeah, he said a lot, and he just drops it like it's nothing.
Nothing. He don't care, bro. Never.
I just agree with Luca. I don't really care about Ninja. I mean, it's funny when you tell someone they suck. I mean, it is what it is. It's not bullying. Just
Yeah. I mean, I also think that people have lost the meaning of bullying as well, to be honest. Shout out to Forkboy with the super chat saying, toxic has been used too much. Now it doesn't mean what it used to. Ninja was not being toxic. Unfortunately, society has become too soft. Yeah, I have to wonder, and thank you for the super chat. I don't understand why it's like this. Like, why are people so inclined to get upset about stuff that doesn't really matter in the long run? I have to wonder, is it because they get attention and they just want attention? Is that it? Like, I don't get it, Like, take for instance, there's this gaming company, and they're releasing this game. It's on Steam already, and they're releasing it for the Switch, and this corporation's called Top Hat Studios, right? And the game that they're releasing is called, let me see, it's like what is it called? Since a cyberpunk ghost story, right? And, they they post a picture of the girls that they're having on the cover of the of the game, and I'll go ahead and show a picture of them. Let me see, application window. All right. So here are the girls. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they show this, there's this picture of these girls, and there was like quite the bit of outrage in which for this post in particular, where Nintendo's like, hey, this game's gonna come on the Switch, people started freaking the fuck out. And as you know, I have this guy muted because he's a weirdo. But yeah, so here we go. We have a lot of people saying the world of gaming exists for men's fantasies, stuff like that.
No.
Anyone, and then there's this person saying anyone complaining about the design of the playable characters is sexist. The game isn't a sex game, it's survival horror. Curvy women exist, and not all of them wear, what is this, Hessian sacks in shame of their curves. They should be allowed to be playable characters, not just props. And this girl right here seems like she's very much so. Okay, very much so of the curvy lane, right? So
what was her screen name? I didn't even see.
Here you go.
You're wrong.
Oh, FES Freya? All right, for sure.
He said,
yeah, and then, then there's like this person saying, is this incels for incels? Let's see here. So this person saying this is just pornographic, just some sad fantasy from adolescent boys.
How though? How do you get porn from that? How?
I don't really know. And then this person said probably easier to animate a female character if you've actually spoken to a human woman before, which is like kind of crazy to me because as we saw with that one girl, she's very very curvaceous, and there are women who do look like that. You know what I mean? But like people saw this image, they were just like, they freaked out about it. I don't really see what the big deal is. I had zero interest in the game myself until the studio actually came out with this statement about it. And they're just like, listen, with the recent news of Since, a cyberpunk ghost story coming to Nintendo Switch, we're aware that a large amount of messages and demands aimed towards the game console's platform release are based on lies, claims that it's explicitly pornographic, or somehow encourages violence, or most ridiculously somehow breaks the law. Furthermore, voices have attempted to advocate making sale of the game untenable through demanding harsh censorship aimed towards the developer's art style, with threats to review bomb the game and or harass its distributors. In addition, we have received death threats from those who feel threatened by what essentially boils down to an aesthetic decision of how pixels are arranged on a screen. While we are disappointed by this behavior, we are not surprised. And then let's be clear, we will not censor the game because of self-centered crowds who care solely about grandstanding. We categorically and absolutely refuse to restrict creative expression. Creators should be allowed freedom to express themselves, particularly when it is an expression of the subculture they're immersed in. As a cyberpunk game, Sims uses imagery and themes related to the future of hyper-commercialized, over-commodified imagery as part of its cyberpunk themes and inspiration. This is reflected in all character design. With that said, we expect that this is lost on those attacking the developer for being harmful and somehow inflicting violence and pain. Those who believe words or images inflict violence should perhaps stop spurting their own hateful, false rhetoric and also cease condoning death threats to those they disagree with. This is like the best thing that they could have said.
Yeah, shout out to them for actually sticking by their guns and be like, yo, this is what it is.
Yeah, let me get these super chats real quick. Shout out to Enrique saying all day Irish Spring is toxic.
Oh my
And then shout out to Blaze with the super chat saying, Slow-mo, hold that L in Rogue, my guy.
Ooh, what are you talking about? Enlighten me.
All right, so like last night I was playing Rogue.
Oh, you play
Rogue
games?
Company. Yeah, I play games, you know.
I love
games.
it.
41, dude.
Oh wait, well fuck me then. All right.
You're over here talking shit.
Slow-mo drop that phone on the table.
Shit.
He's trying to get out of jail. Look.
So look, I'm just playing a game, and I'm like, I run into like this one match. First round, I'm like, oh, this group's pretty good. Cool. Second round starts, and I'm like, let me sit up in my chair and everything.
No,
right?
you know what? You gotta sit up.
So I got Ronin. I'll pull out the explosive knife, and 2 or 3 of the other team just comes like they say, please throw this knife in my forehead. I said, sure, all right, well, why not? Dropped all 3 of them immediately, right? And then I get shot in the back, and I see the name. It said Ryan 55 8400, whatever Ryan's name is, and I'm like, that looked familiar. So then I respawn, come back. I see this dude coming at me. His name's Blaze 4K. I'm like, that's Blaze. Hold up. I checked. I'm playing Ryan, Blaze, and 2 other guys that I know they roll with. And so I'm like, all right, now I know I gotta go ahead and make sure that, you know, I play a good match. So, you know, they won because I'm playing with a bunch of randoms that didn't. One guy only had like 7.
Same with them people you met at the park.
Level 7. He just started playing the game. He was awful. But it was fun. It was good. It was a good match. They won 3-1. It wasn't like a blowout. It was pretty cool. Yeah, I had the most downs. I had the most damage. And I only died like 8 times.
Listen, all I'm saying is if they got you in a fair environment, it would be a wrap. You would totally destroy them. Am I right?
I'm not saying all that. I'm saying that I bodied a lot of them, and they knew what it was. But hey, I don't expect to win when I'm playing with randoms against a full stack. I just don't expect to win like that. But
what's up, Racer?
Good match. You know, Blaze was the worst one on their team, but you know, shout out to him, man. He did a great job, though.
All right, okay.
Shout out to him. He did a great job.
What's up, Racer? What's up, Yobi? What's up, Shadow? What's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Shout out to Sir X-Man with the super chat saying, hello, my Luca and everyone else. Have a great show. Like I said, Mooch, I give it to my girl, Luca. She's awesome. Appreciate that.
The Rex Man.
Shout out to Enrique with super chat saying Slow-mo uses aimbots on PC, PCMR. And then Blaze,
he gotta stop spreading these lies, man.
Blaze wants the 1v1.
Hey, let's do it.
All right, stream it, or it didn't happen. Fact.
Yeah, stream it so we can watch. So yeah, you know, but when I saw that statement from them, that actually made me contemplate buying the game just off that statement, because too often we see these corporations bending the knee to these fucking losers on the internet who complain about nothing. You know, take for instance the Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft, listen, okay, I can say a lot of stuff about Ubisoft, and I am. So they're over here having their executives sexually harassing the female workers, right? The executives and like people in charge and just random workers sexually harassing female workers, right? And that's not a problem. It's perfectly fine. But then it's like someone on Twitter's like, in Valhalla, you know, they showed this text where they talked about this girl being disfigured, and it upset my girlfriend who was disfigured and triggered her to the point where she was just so upset. And Ubisoft comes out and apologizes for that, and it's just kind of like, you're fucking joking, right? Because you can, with stuff like that, I'm just like, they don't actually care. You know?
He doesn't even have a finished username on Twitter. Like, what are we doing here?
Like, I don't get it. But the fact that these developers in particular were like, nah, we're good. Nah, we're not doing that. We're gonna continue selling the game as we want to sell it. It made me consider picking the game up myself whenever it comes up on the Switch, even though I have no interest in the game in general, just because the developers took a stand that so many other corporations refused to take a stand on. You know?
Yep.
There's so many issues.
So many variables, yeah.
So many issues in the world, and yet people hyperfixate on the smallest things on Twitter, things that just don't mean anything, things that don't have any actual real world effect on anything. Yet they go out of their way to say this is sexist, this is homophobic, this is racist, this is this and this and this. And it's just like those words have lost their meaning because people just throw them out there just because they don't like something and they want to throw a tantrum. They just want to have their way because they feel good about it. And I just don't understand that kind of mentality.
I think that's the problem with Twitter, because you can have an echo chamber of like-minded people. Because if they tried spouting that stuff in the real world, not on Twitter, no one would pay them, no one would give them a minute of their day. People would be going about their business. So the only way they can get their word across is on Twitter, and then they find other people who are like-minded, and then they form a little group, and then they all go on to something else. And if they can't do it in the real world, so they have to do it on Twitter.
Yeah.
So then they make a statement, and then everyone jumps on it. Like, I'll get all my followers to go after you, and it's like,
yeah, like I said, there's real instances. Go ahead.
I find it weird that, well, not weird, but I don't know. Let me just say it like this: if you play a game and there's something that is not being offensive in itself, it's not like they're making fun of people who are disfigured or anything like that. Like, for example, there is a particular part of Sunset Overdrive that people took offense to, and I understood, because there's a guy, there's a character in it that character is a paraplegic, and they make jokes about him being paraplegic and actually depict him in manners that are supposed to be humorous based off his disability. People took offense to that. I understand, because you're actually making fun of someone based off of their disability. But if this is in Valhalla, just a character that just so happens to be disfigured, or talking about someone being disfigured, and now you're triggered, like, that's a part of life. There are people who are disfigured, people who got into car accidents, or whatever may have happened, may have been attacked, or whatever, and they are what they are. Just because they exist, that offends you. Like, what is going on? Like, it seems like there's something else needs to be happening. You need to be going to go talk to someone for your issues, and not jumping on Twitter and running at the company and saying, take this out, or apologize to me for what? Like, that's for creating a character that just so happens to have something that other people in society also have. That's weird. That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. So shout out to Sir X-Men saying, so if they make a game with Quasimodo, are they going to take out his hump out of his back because it might offend people? That would not make him Quasimodo. And doing that is also like making it so you are erasing the fact that these people exist is one thing. Now, Slomo, the thing of it is, I don't know if I 100% agree with you, because at the end of the day, it is just a video game. Now, I can understand people noting like this was probably not a good idea, but like getting offended and upset to the point where they're like upset isn't something I agree with in regards to, not that I'm saying that's what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. But like, that's not something I agree with in regards to how people react to certain things. Like, okay, so I'm Black and I'm a woman, right? I've been watching racist and sexist depictions of women and Black people for years now, but you don't see me having, you don't see me like freaking out about stuff like that. And Bondi, your point doesn't make any sense. Move on. So, like you don't see me like canceling shows or being like, I'm not going to watch this show because it depicts something that may offend me as a person, or I'm not going to tweet out about it. I'm usually just like, okay, this isn't something I'm all that interested in myself. I'll stop watching. Take, for instance, Sons of Anarchy. I love Sons of Anarchy. I really did. But I stopped watching in season 4 because they brought up the race storyline. And I was just like, oh, I'm not interested in this. Like, I don't want to watch this. I have no interest in this. So I stopped watching it. But you didn't see me go on Twitter making like a big deal about it or anything like that. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's stuff like that where it's like, I'll watch a TV show, I'll watch a movie, and I can be like, yeah, I can understand how that could be problematic. I can understand why some people would be taken off guard by that and, you know, maybe feel a little bit uncomfortable. But to get to a point where you feel like it is a personal slight and personal violence against you because it's a piece of media depicting it is ridiculous. Like, take for instance, there's a lot of media which I personally don't like rape in TV shows or movies. I don't want to see it. I don't think it needs to be included. I understand that it's something that happens, but when they include it to the point where it's like very drawn out and you just see everything that's happening, I don't want to see that, you know?
Yeah,
because
I agree with that too. Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable. Now I have a choice, and that choice is to not watch media that portrays that kind of stuff. And I make that choice, but I would never go somewhere and be like, they can't include this. I don't think they should include this. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I feel you on that. And that's all I'm saying is that I take offense when it's like it's intentionally trying to make fun of someone with disabilities versus it's just a character that it has a disability or disfigured. There isn't a hey, look, point and laugh kind of thing going on in Valhalla. So I was just like, if that's not really happening, but you're still somehow triggered off of it, it's like, what's going on with you, really? Then, you know, versus what did Ubisoft do to deserve that kind of backlash? That's all.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that. And I think if we're going to talk, like I said, Ubisoft has bigger issues like them sexually harassing their workers, but not doing anything about it. But we're going to talk about some shit in the video game. Like, that's definitely some virtue signaling bullshit, you know? And I like I said, I'm not all that interested in anything like that. I don't like it. I think corporations are evil entities in general, to be quite frank. And whenever they make it a point to try and act like they care about stuff, it bugs me because I'm like, dude, like, I don't believe you, you know? So, do you guys have anything else to say about this topic?
No.
I think I'm good.
Nah, we're good.
All right. So, yeah, these are some pretty heavy topics, which I'm sure you weren't expecting this. But yeah, let me go ahead and move on to our next topic. What else are we going to talk about today? So I sent everyone a topics list. All right, let's see here. So okay. What are your gaming expectations for 2021?
Get a PS5. That's it.
I'm expecting it because it's the start of a new gen. I'm not expecting like banger after banger after banger. Like, we need to give them time to ramp up. So I'd say it's gonna be a good year, but not like a great or an amazing year. So there's like, because we don't know what else is coming out. Like, we have the confirmed games. So like we know Halo's coming out. Horizon more than likely is coming out. We got, you know, a new Trails Cold Steel game. We got Kena and stuff like that. So it's shaping up to be a good year, but we really don't know enough to make I don't know enough to make a
there's some other ones too,
statement.
Singer, right? You've got Deathloop is slated for June.
Yeah.
I believe we've also got GT 7 is supposed to be coming out this year as well.
I mean,
Well,
I'll believe it when I see it, because I've heard some.
You said Horizon's coming out. I mean, that's like throwing a dime into the well, isn't it? I mean,
I also heard God of War's coming out, and I'm like, okay.
Well, we didn't hear, we saw it. Now, whether they do it or not, that's on them. But they showed us that it was. I mean, I'm with you on that. I mean, a lot of this stuff can get. Lucas says it all the time. These games can be delayed at any point in time, but the fact that you see somebody say that, like, let's use God of War as a good example, Singer. So we'll say God of War is coming out the end of the year, and then all of a sudden it gets delayed. Okay, that definitely doesn't fall into 2021, but I mean, it's probably coming out. That would mean probably early 2022. Would you agree with that, or maybe mid 2022?
I agree.
Yeah, I'd agree mid 2022, because the way Sony likes to release their games, they generally don't like really two massive games at the end of the year. Like, you take this year, for example, you had The Last of Us 2 earlier on. Then you had Miles Morales at the very end. Then you had Ghost of Tsushima, but they were spaced out. So when they were because I've seen some people list off like 6 or 7 games. I'm like, Sony generally don't release games like that. So I'll
think you probably get 2 big games this year.
Yeah. and I was like Horizon, and I'd probably say Gran Turismo. I mean, we could probably do a good bet on that. And then God of War will be 2022 because we know that's close.
I'll be honest with you, I'm actually okay with that. I thought,
that's great.
I mean, I thought, right? I mean, all day I thought 2021 was being a bit aggressive. I'm not saying that the team couldn't do it, but let's just talk about the smaller games too, because Singer made a good point. You've got Returnal, Gran Turismo 7. Okay, take these all with a grain of salt, right? Kena, and then you also have Deathloop. Then you've got Horizon, and then you've got possibly, like you're saying, God of War. That's 6 games. You can arguably say 3 or larger titles. 3 probably, Sony's middle AA kind of style. But nonetheless, those are decent sized games, and those are all. That is something that Sony doesn't usually do. But Singer, and I know you pay attention to the news. The one thing you know that is Sony definitely has a different strategy. I've seen multiple YouTube channels reporting this, multiple across the board, saying that Sony's attack here is, while Microsoft is in a hold pattern right now until at least Halo Infinite comes out, they're going to just throw games at consumers and say, you need to be here, you need to be here, you need to be here. The more people they can get, and they were also saying that they're going to have 16 million PS5s out in 2021 in addition to what's already out. Like, they're going to flood the market. What they're trying to say is basically, by the time Xbox gets its legs, they're already going to be like 6 miles out in front in the race. You see what I'm saying? So they're trying to kind of hit them while they're down, and they're saying, well, if we keep flooding them with games and we actually are able to get these consoles into brick and mortar stores, we can get them when Microsoft really won't get off the starting line until Halo Infinite comes out. You know what I mean? And again, this is strategic. I'm just saying you don't have to agree with it. This is just what I'm reading and picking up over the course of the past 6 months or so.
Oh yeah, but I don't think that's going to matter all that much who gets ahead in regards to, at least for me, because as long as they come out with games I'm interested in, it doesn't matter when they come out. Shout out to Sir X saying I want less glitches and new games in 2021. Facts. I would, you can only hope. And also, this topic, this 2021 gaming expectations, is from Sean Slampka, who submitted it as a topic. But go ahead,
thanks, bro.
Thing is, I agree. The thing is, 2021, it's unknown it's unknown what Nintendo's dropping. It's unknown, apart from Halo Infinite, what Xbox may have. Like, apparently the Dying Light 2 people have an announcement, so that might be coming out this year.
Shoot.
And then
that announcement might be that it's canceled.
Well,
what makes you say that?
Hopefully not.
Based off of a report that came out about the Dying Light dev. I forgot their name, but I read an article that was talking about. Say again?
Is it Techland, I think?
Yes, Techland, yeah. I read an article about the issues that they were having internally with the game. And
really?
a lot of there's games basically in development hell. It went from having a release window to being delayed to a different release window to not to just now an indefinite delay. So there's nothing that
I got to agree with you, Slow-Mo. And the one thing that concerns me more than anything is the fact that what we just went through with Cyberpunk, right? So I'm a huge, Dying Light, the first Dying Light was
awesome.
Ultimately, right? It's probably top 5 of last generation games for me personally. So seeing Dying Light 2, I'm uber excited. The problem here is that when you if you go back and watch some of the short films that they released of here's where our game is, here's what we're doing with the game. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, oh, here comes another group of guys that are biting off more than they can chew, and that sounds a lot like our buddies over at CD Projekt Red, right? We're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and then we get like none of it. So I think that's the development hell you're talking about, Slow-Mo, which concerns me. But I would say this much: there's a possibility that it releases in a broken state. I hope they don't, especially after seeing what CD Projekt Red just went through. But I think this game is going to come out. I do believe we'll see it in 2021. I just hope it's in the state we want to play it in.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let
me do the super chat. What's up, Jack Move? And then shout out to Envy saying I want less scalpers and bots in 2021. Yeah, me too, dog. Me too.
Big fact there. For sure. I just also want to just add that remember Chris Avalon? I think he used to work for Obsidian.
Yeah.
One of their more popular developers that was really big on story writing. He was working on Dying Light 2 as well, and he had to leave the studio based off of some other personal issues and some things that popped up. And in the report that I read, that they were having a lot of problems specifically with him in regards to what he wanted to do with the game and what they also were kind of feeling what they wanted to do. So it's just
they're going with like a change along with development hell. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a lot going on there, and I'm not saying it's definitely going to get canceled. It just wouldn't surprise me when you see something go from
or another delay.
Or a massive delay. Then
they might give because I'm hoping they give a release date of 2022 because I want that game to come out because I'm a fan of the first game, so I really want a sequel. I want a second game to it. But as far as the 2021, I'd say it's more of a holding year. Like, it'll be a good year because we're going to get some good games, but it's not going to be great. I'd say it's more of a... It's the... As soon as they get their shows together and then they show us what the future of the next couple of years is, that's when it's going to ramp up. Because like, in the Xbox One, when we went from 360 to Xbox One and PS3 to PS4, like, the first year or two was, you generally knew what you were going to get. There was no big surprises. Everything didn't start ramping up until the third year of the gen. So I'm willing to. I think that's what they're going to do again. The first year is going to be, you had known quantities or what's coming next. So yeah.
So for me, like, I'm not. Listen, I mean, I want to play Elden Ring whenever that comes out, whatever that's going to be. In theory, I would want to play it, right? Because it's a FromSoft title. But at this point, I have to ask, should we, as a community, should we stop hyping games up?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm just saying, like, we were all super hyped. Well, me and you. Okay, I was hyped for Cyberpunk, you see how I just continued just shaving it off.
I was highly interested.
I was really hyped for Cyberpunk, and even though I am enjoying it, it didn't live up to my expectations in regards to some of the other things that they said they were going to do. You know what I mean? And let's see here. What else is there? Also, who is to blame when a game turns out to be, maybe not the best, maybe just a little bit mediocre? Is it our fault for being excited and expecting certain things, or is it the marketing people's fault? Like, whose problem is it? What's up, Erodimus? Like, who is to blame for this? Okay, for the hurt I feel.
Everybody get a slice.
It's the devs and publishers' fault for it.
Everyone gets a little bit because
no, it's not the fans' fault for believing what they said was going to be in their game. If you look at take CD Projekt Red in Cyberpunk, for example, when they showed that 45-minute demo, or whatever you want to call it, of the game, they showed their features they showed in that there are not actually in the game at all.
Like what?
The wall climbing with the claws that come out and to climb on walls, the bullet time, what else? The cutscenes where you see your character. These were all in that 45-minute demo and are not present in the current game. When you do stuff like that, like, people have an expectation that this is what I'm going to see in the actual game, and then you start slowly pulling things out, as understandably you're not able to do that on the older hardware. But it's not the consumer's fault for seeing something, liking it, and then expecting you to actually deliver it.
Yeah,
I think it's on the actual developer, especially when it comes to CD Projekt Red, for lying about.
I completely agree with Slomo, but Luca, the other side of it, where I think, and I did it to a certain extent. There was just certain things that I saw in Cyberpunk as it was being released. I said it on Crossfire week in and week out. I said there's just something that doesn't feel right about this game. I feel like something is going to happen. This game is just not going to launch well. I said it a number of times. And the one thing I would say is welcome certain people's maybe concerns, right? And don't necessarily just bash the concerns, because if someone sees something that maybe you don't catch your eye on, like, I'll give you an example. I'm a huge Dying Light fan, right? So I'm excited for Dying Light 2. I might be so engulfed with it and so excited for it that you're like, Mooch, honestly, are you not seeing the problem here? They've literally promised you 3 or 4 things, and now at release, we're not getting these things, and the game's not out yet. And I'm like, no, Luke, it's just amazing. It's great. It's amazing. It's the best game ever. You just wait and see. And that's the thing. It's like, I think that's where you say maybe a piece of the pie kind of has to be handed out. But ultimately, no, when it comes down to it, it's legitimately the developer's fault or their PR team that sold it to us incorrectly.
Yeah, I can agree with that because like me and All Day, when the first gameplay demo, even the first one looked a little shaky. And I remember I was on the phone with All Day. I was
Shaky?
like, dude.
That's an understatement.
I was on the phone with All Day. I was like, man, I don't know about this. And we were just joking and making jokes about it and having fun with it. And we could listen, all of us who are in the know, when they were like, we're not giving reviews out for the console version, all of us were like, oh no, it's gonna be a bad fucking time. But there were people who were in denial about like the several red flags that were put up, shout out to Sir X-Men saying I'm waiting for Shadow Warriors 3 in 2021.
Hell yeah, bro.
But yeah, it's like I definitely say that it's the developer's fault. I'm never going to blame the consumer. So myself.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, I'm probably in the minority. But I was hyped for Cyberpunk, and it met my expectations. But I'm probably in the minority.
Yeah, you probably are.
That's because I've already done like 2 of the different endings, so I'm like deep into the game now. I'm like, but it met what I was expecting because I didn't really care about this whole first person, third person. I just wanted a great RPG, and I got a great RPG. So I'm like, okay, it met what I wanted.
Yeah, no, I get that too. So, all right, but I just want to pose that question. So we have another question here from Damien. Damien wants to know our thoughts about Microsoft making their own DualSense.
Right, I gotta nip this in the bud.
Okay, go ahead.
That paint and all that was done back in like 2017 before the DualSense, 2017, 2018 before the DualSense, whilst the DualSense was being in production. They only just found out about it now, and they're trying to make it out as in they were behind, they're trying to copy the DualSense. No, they thought about this back in 2018. They just didn't do it, and now it just comes out. So now people are making a big deal out of what is essentially nothing.
Okay.
Oh, it's something.
Yeah, it's definitely something. I mean, that's like saying I came up with the last 15 flavors for Baskin Robbins. I just didn't put them out there yet, right? I mean, that's fine.
They had the pain for it, but they never enacted it. That they had the design for it, but they just didn't put it in.
Oh no, I see your point. I think that the question now, and look at it, maybe I'm reading into the question wrong, but the question is, will Microsoft implement that patent, and will they move forward in putting to that? Maybe the controllers we already have for the Series X already have those mechanics in there. Now it's just a software thing where they have to just turn it on, or is it a situation where we'll have to go buy new controllers? That's yet to be known, as far as I know. If any of you guys know, I'll stand corrected.
Do you know what would happen if these motherfuckers come out with another controller? The internet.
Yeah, it would be. No, all day would be Tuesday. You know what I mean, man? Like every Tuesday is a new controller. Like, anybody want to have another controller? I'm like, no, man, we're full.
I think if they do it, they may do like a revision of the current Xbox Series controller and it will be like the controller that you purchase with your Xbox Series console will just have that newer controller that has that DualSense kind of haptic feedback features baked into it. But I'm not surprised they already had a patent, for something similar. I mean, this is what all companies do. They create things through R&D, they patent it, and then they sit on it. And because they don't quite know if they haven't made a decision to go forward with it yet. But if it turns out someone else has something similar that turns out to be a really good feature and it works, well, look, hey, instead of having to just start from scratch with that, we already got something we can put to use right now. Let's just go ahead and do it. We know it's going to work now.
Yep.
So it's all business.
I agree on the point that they may revamp like the base controller, because they did that in the Xbox One gen. Remember the initial Xbox One controller? And then as soon as the Series S came out, they changed this.
They made some changes,
Yeah, they made some changes. So they might do that like halfway through the gen. They'll change the controller around and implement it. Bear in mind, Sony and all these people, they paint a whole bunch of stuff, and most of the time they don't use the stuff. They just do it because they could do it. It's like they just sit on it. They're like, okay, we got this in the bag. If at some point we may need to utilize it, but generally we don't. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, shout out to Sir X-Men saying, no Xbox DualSense, please give me VR. You might as well go to PC for that, dog.
Yeah.
Or the PlayStation 4. Okay.
A Quest 2 or something like that.
Quest?
Yeah, the Quest, the Oculus Quest.
Honestly, as far as VR goes, that's like legit.
Okay.
The
I
Quest
don't
2.
listen. I saw an anime when I was younger, and no, it's not Sword Art Online. I saw an anime when I was younger about people getting stuck in a VR world, and ever since I've been
you
like,
talking about
no,
Dot
I don't
Hack?
think so.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Dot Hacks.
Real ones, no.
Yeah. Real ones, no. Okay, so NV Dub wants to know what our favorite albums of 2020 are.
Music to be Murdered by Side B and Side
All right,
A.
man. Thanks for coming out to the show, singer. We love you. Fuck out of here.
No, they are my favorite albums. Actually, no, they're not my favorite albums. My favorite album is a virtual K-pop group made for League of Legends, and they're called KDA. That's my number one album for this year. There we go. Put it out there. Here we go. Done.
Okay. Anyone else?
Oh man, let me go. I have no idea. I need to go look at what I've been listening to for the past year. Hold on.
Okay. My favorite album from this year is Run the Jewel 4. So RTJ4. It was the album was fucking phenomenal. The production quality, the lyrics, everything about it was just amazing. So that's my favorite album of this year.
I don't know what mine would be.
Okay, what you guys are just thinking about it? Okay, we'll come back around. Just go ahead and think about it, and we'll come back around to that. All right, so John the Don wants to know, what's your favorite video game soundtrack, and how important is an OST to a gaming experience?
Oh, that's tough.
Hold on. For me, I have to say that Max Payne 3 or Persona 5 are the best OSTs. That's what he said. Okay. So for me personally, my favorite OST is the one from. Okay, I would actually have to think about this. It's between Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and Fire Emblem, Three Houses. Those are like my favorite. Because like especially Fire Emblem, like that, like okay, and then he's like it was absolutely phenomenal. And he's like, how important the OST is extremely important. Like usually when I remember, okay, an OST can make the boss fight, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Or like make the experience. Like take Persona 5 for instance. Like you never see, like we still say you never seen it coming. It's been fucking years since that game came out. You know what I mean? I love
it's lit. That's why
this shit is lit. Like I love the Persona 5 soundtrack too, and then the soundtrack for when you're in the Velvet Room, or whatever the fuck that shit's called, right?
We were in the Velvet Room.
Like that shit is fire. Okay,
yeah, that's fire. Yeah.
Is that where you get the lap dances and shit?
No.
Is he talking about like all time?
That's
or
the champagne
just,
room. My bad.
All time.
All time.
Damn, I say fucking Echo the Dolphin, fucking Metal Gear Solid 3, a Snake Eater, motherfucking Chrono Trigger, Silent Hill.
See, it's hard all the time. If it was this gen, I mean, if I had to pick one, to see if it's all time, it's between Final Fantasy VII, the original. Then there's also Doom, and then I guess if I had to say one, it'd be Doom.
Wow.
What's Doom though?
The original Doom trilogy.
Yeah, because you listen to fucking Megadeth.
I was saying, he must love that Megadeth.
Yeah, you listen to AC/DC, all that. Yeah.
No. It's just the Doom soundtrack. It makes sense for the type of game it is. Like it works. Like you want this heavy metal, rip and tear. I'm destroying people.
I think whether you like that music or not, you'll agree that Doom is just that fast paced, like shotgun to the face. Right? It's that kind of game. Like
it's supposed to be brutal.
Right.
So you can't have any fantasy music in there, like dee 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 dee, because it doesn't work.
Put on some classical.
Hey, you know what? That might be dope. Some dope ass jazz music, shooting people.
Jazz.
I'm in hell, killing demons, and I got jazz music. Let's go.
Got some Beethoven
Doom on the jazz.
I would say, my bad. Go ahead, Mooch.
Go ahead. You want to go slow?
Yeah. I want to say one. Well, to name a couple that you guys already mentioned. Final Fantasy. Hold on, I'll get to that in a minute. Chrono Trigger soundtrack.
My favorite. Mass Effect 2. Don't forget that.
Amazing. Mass Effect 2. Matter of fact,
yeah. I
would say there's a song from Mass Effect 1 that's by a group called False. Man, it's just amazing. It's like 8 minutes, but it is. every time I think about I'm about to say Final Fantasy Mass Effect, I think about that song. I hear parts of that song in my head. Most recently, I will say, but wait, let me go through all my old stuff that I do most recently. There's a song in the intro and the prologue of Final Fantasy VI that is quintessential Final Fantasy, and it's when the two mechs and Wedge, Biggs and Wedge, and they're in these two mechs, and they're marching through the snow towards this town, and it's that song is just amazing. It sets the tone for the entire game. It's great. Final Fantasy VII's soundtrack is amazing. But then now that's all the old stuff. Most recently, I would say Griss's soundtrack is great. My favorite, most recently, the entire album of Oxenfree is hands down ridiculous. Like it's made by I gotta figure out the name of the artist that made it. The artist does all the work for Night School Studios, but just amazing. And then another one I can mention is probably Astro's Playroom. Most recently, Astro's Playroom's soundtrack is great. Just absolutely great.
Yeah.
I forgot Persona 4 Golden. That soundtrack is just man. And then you have Ease 8.
Ease 8 is good.
Ease 8 soundtrack's amazing. Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, fire. I'm playing that right now.
I think a lot of the Final Fantasies all have that good.
Yeah,
right?
For Final Fantasy generally always has good music, but like the 14, because which are you in that? Baldy?
I just started. I just started.
So you haven't done any of the expansions or anything?
No.
Oh, the original Final Fantasy VII composer appears later on. The people that did the original Final Fantasies, they'll appear later on in that, and the music just gets better and better.
You mean I'm not good with Japanese names as
you're not good with names in general, dude.
Good with them podcasts.
I'm not even gonna say it, but I know who you're talking about. The guy's got I follow on Google Music. I follow him specifically because you can get all of his soundtracks just based on my sub. I can just listen to all his music.
Nobody says Sonic.
Well, Sonic's a classic, but it's not. Is it better than a lot of these other soundtracks?
Well, it really wasn't original, but you got to realize, man, for its time, like they were just doing riffs on like Bobby Brown, Michael Jackson, shit like that. So it resonated with a lot of.
How well do you know Final Fantasy music all day? By the way, like do you remember Final Fantasy 6, 5, 4, all the way up to 15?
That's it.
What was the last game on Super Nintendo? Was it 4?
That's his name.
Was it 3 or 4?
3 or 4. One of them games I know had a good soundtrack.
Because
it was 4 actually.
Because you'll notice in 14, because it's essentially a big homage to every single Final Fantasy, and it's a huge fan.
It's like a mashup, right? Yeah.
Like there's songs in there like from Final Fantasy 6 playing randomly, and you're like, what's this doing in here? But yeah, you'll love it.
So you guys are all talking about like these songs that like actually are amazing, right? You could just literally leave the start menu on and listen to
I listen to them on Spotify without the game. Yeah.
So like this one game that I'm
like
picking out here, I wouldn't be able to get through the game unless I had the soundtrack. And I know a lot of you guys on the panel may not actually like the game, but Death Stranding, right? That game, I thought that soundtrack was amazing. Like from beginning to end. And let's be honest, okay, whether you like the game or not, a lot of the game is walking, right? So you're walking and you're solving some walking puzzles, if you will, on how to get over the terrain. But it was the music that carried you that distance back and forth more than anything else, in my opinion. So that was one. The other one that I think really stands out is Ori. I think Ori's soundtrack, Ori's soundtrack is very good. And that's the thing. So for me, everything you guys said was, I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, these guys are 110% right. Amazing soundtracks. But these games like Ori and the games like Death Stranding, when you have those kind of that music, you appreciate it for the amount of work and skill that went into it. But it's those types of soundtracks that carried me through the game. I don't know if I would necessarily have as much fun in those games if it wasn't for that. Like, imagine if you just had an awful soundtrack in Death Stranding. I mean, wouldn't it? You have
You probably would.
Oh, man.
I'm out of here. So, I think in that case, I'm almost there for the music. So it is what it is. But I think those were two honorable mentions that I didn't hear you guys say. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Imagine if Metal Gear didn't have a nice soundtrack. You know what I mean? Like that game kind of probably wouldn't be as powerful or impactful as it was.
All right, let me get the super chat. Shout out to Sir X-Men saying my new album is the Five Finger Death Punch. Great album. Nice. So for me personally, and I appreciate that. For me personally, I'm telling you, video game music is really what makes it for me. Like, can you imagine Bloodborne without that bombastic music? With that, like, the music is what makes it. You know what I mean? The music is like. And then, like, take for instance, Life is Strange. Regardless of however I may feel about that franchise, the endings of certain games from the franchise, right? The music for Life is Strange and Life is Strange 2, or
right.
Actually, I didn't listen to Life is Strange 2, but Life is Strange Before the Storm is absolutely phenomenal.
It keeps up. It keeps up to the standard of the previous two games for Life is Strange 2 as far as it goes. It's they whoever is their music composer, not composer because they're not really composing it, but their sound or music orchestrator, the one that gets it all and puts and uses it in the correct circumstances, that person is amazing. Way better quality than the rest of the games, I think.
Yeah, and it's like, for me, okay, there are certain scenes from Life is Strange that I remember based off the music, like episode 4, in the junkyard. And like the song is called Mountains, right? And like bitch, are you kidding? I'm tear up about it. It's like the mountains, and I'm just over here, and then like with the deer lowering its head as the music goes ding, and it's just like and it like pans out. I was like, bitch, this scene, like that scene, like throughout the entirety of Life is Strange, that entire game, episode 4 sticks out to me the most because of that particular scene, right? And then in Before the Storm, when Chloe's in the junkyard and she's like destroying the truck, and like the music is like,
it was good.
Just destroying the truck. Like, are you kidding?
The truck, bro.
Like I was like, holy shit! Like that shit speaks to me still to this day. Like I remember those particular scenes because of the music that was playing in the background. I remember the fight with the cleric beast because don. Yeah, I remember that because
is that my doorbell? Hold on.
I remember fighting Vicar Amelia because of the music that was playing, And it's just like a shout out to Sir X-Men saying best soundtrack is Need for Speed Underground 2. And then it's good. And then like the music that played during the final fight in Fire Emblem 3 Houses on the Golden Deer train, right? The Golden Deer track. And it's just like, it was dawn. And it's just like, it was so awesome. And it just made the fight even cooler. Like the music the music can make a scene in a game. And I think it's extremely important.
It really can. Go on, Slummer.
Okay, I'm just going real quick shout out. One, Spectre in the chat's really dropping fire. Tales of the Borderlands, the soundtrack, the entire thing, amazing. Fire. And how Telltale implemented it in the game, perfection. That's one. There's a small little indie game. I've never even played it. I just listened to the soundtrack. Lost Ember soundtrack. Freaking amazing.
I never heard of that. I might have to sample some shit. Let me know.
Check out Lost Ember soundtrack. It's especially the main title theme and another one called song called
Is that a Game Pass game or what is that?
I don't even know. I don't know if it's a Game Pass or not. All I know is I've seen some people feature the game and like as an indie game to look out for, and I just like remember hearing a song from the trailer. I was like, yo, that's pretty lit. Let me look that up. And I just found this entire soundtrack that was just amazing. But the artist that I said that does all the music for Oxenfree and that's that song that came out last year from Night School Studio, After Party. It's called Scientific, and I'll put their name in the chat too. they do like amazing work.
It was
And-
more. It was more to Mooch's and Luca's point. Like in Final Fantasy XIV, for example, when you get to a boss fight, you have other people, and let's say one of the fights is this massive ass dragon that appears, and the music just kicks in, and this like metal track, and it just suits like all the fires going around. And it's like, yo, I am loving fighting this dragon, despite anything that's happening. The music just sets it.
Yeah, it's the same. Like my favorite fight in Dark Souls 3 is between the twin princes, and the music that plays. Like, bro, are you fucking kidding? That shit is fire. Like, I'll go in there just to listen to the music while I'm fighting the boss. Like, it just makes it, right? A shout out to Envy with Super Chat saying Nihon Falcom games have some of the dopest OSTs. Shout out to Enrique saying Luca, the music in Bloodborne and Souls boss battles heightens the emotion. Nothing like great music in a game. Yes, I 100% agree. That, you know, John Lagon, great question. You know, great question.
I got one more thing to add. Who won the fight? Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 versus 2. Who had the better soundtrack?
Probably 1 because it was more.
Never mind, it's cool. Y'all don't remember it. It's cool. Move on. Go ahead.
We're all looking around like,
I'm showing my age now, huh? Let me stop.
All right. So, okay. So, great question. All right. So, Yobi asked, let's see here. He asked like 5 or 6 questions, right? For topics. So, let's see here.
We need a Discord section for these topics.
Yo, for sure. I agree. So, end of the year wrap up for the gaming industry as a whole. So, for 2020, well, let me get the super chat. Shout out to Enrique saying, I got the feels when Aerith's theme song played in Final Fantasy Remake, like legit put the controller down and got choked up. Lost Ember is good slow-mo. I think slow-mo stepped away. And then, I have to highlight this question, or this comment. Aaron in chat saying .hack and .hat GU soundtrack was good. They was the same people who also did the Naruto Storm series soundtrack.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Let me tell you something, Aaron. That hack sign soundtrack is fire. The whole "We are here alone."
Oh yeah. That shit is fire. Yeah, that shit is fire.
So cool. And then in the land of twilight, under the moon. Okay, bro, are you kidding? And then like the opening song, you know, with the ups. Are you fucking kidding me? This shit is fire, dude. Like, come on. And then we are here alone again. And you know, are you kidding? It's just absolutely amazing. Like one of the reasons why I love .hat sign so much is because the music was so fire, dude. Shout out to Sir X-Men saying all the Mortal Kombat soundtracks, you know them when you hear them, and they're so brutal in a game when you hear them and play them for sure, man.
Street Fighter Tekken, don't leave them out. Soundtracks are great.
Just absolutely, I love music in general. Music's probably like one of my favorite things, and like a good song can really make something. Like take for instance that Queen of the Damned movie is trash, but the music is amazing. You know what I mean?
Right. Hey, do y'all remember that Gears of War commercial? Remember that shit?
Yeah.
That shit was crazy. For Gears of War 2?
Those Gears of War commercials really got.
Or was it 3?
I think 2 and 3.
With the statues breaking and shit. Remember?
Is it the one where like, I find it kind of? I do remember, but I find it kind of sad.
Yeah.
Dying are the best I've ever had.
That shit was great.
I know about that, you know. So
yeah, that shit was great.
Yeah. So okay. So let's see here. Mad World. Okay. So Yobi wants to know our end of the year wrap up for the gaming industry. Like, what do we think about the gaming industry as a whole this year? Has it met our expectations? Are they trash? You know, are you sick of them? Like, I don't know. Is the media bias still existent?
It's all over the place.
Oh, Transistor and Bastion, bro.
Yeah, those were good.
Yeah, and shout out to Enrique with that. Super chat saying the music in Transistor and Bastion were awesome.
Probably some of the best this generation, period. Last generation.
It's funny when you think about it, Luca, though, right? Like when we say media bias nowadays, it's not what was the media in 2011 through 2013. We're not there right now, right? Now it's influencers, right? They're the ones that kind of took over, right? You can actually even see like IGN and Taco and Polygon. They're almost at war with the big influencers now.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a media bias thing anymore, and now it's more of the. And with it being influencers, let's be honest. When you're an influencer, you are a highly paid opinionist, right? I mean, it's your opinion. So is it you can't really point the finger at an influencer and say, well, that's not fair. They're legitimately getting on their channel and just telling you how they feel. So you either listen to it and enjoy the content, you listen to it and want to just rebuttal. But no, I don't think that that's the case anymore. I think it's changed since 2013, 2014. We're in a completely different media landscape than we were back then.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right, especially in regards to the yellow chair debacle, as they say. So I can.
It's getting kind of crazy. The other day, my girl watches. I forgot their name. I think her name's Judy or whatever. She's like a popular vlogger or whatever. She has like a whole bunch of kids. She vlogs her life, right? So she has a new job. She was watching it the other day where Amazon has this new program where they have influencers. They go live on this Amazon app and they're at their house and they showcase all the products that they sent to them. So it's like a new thing. It's like a new beta they're doing right now. So I was like, damn, they're giving you people like a time card now, huh? You got to clock in for work now. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to Sir Xman saying, I just got one soundtrack for you guys. It's tricky. Okay. It's I definitely think, in my opinion, that especially when it came to like some of the news where I'm just like, why is this a fucking article? That I had a lot of feelings like that. Take, for instance, the one article that said the girl said she's not getting an Xbox because she's got like was it that whole you can't look at things with a lot of holes in it, which is a completely understandable phobia because it freaks me out too. But
I
it
got
was
some
like
pictures I can send you.
Complete. I swear to God, I will block.
Hey, they said it to me, so fuck you.
No, fuck you. So yeah, what is it? Trypophobia? Yeah, I can definitely understand that one, but it's at the same time, it's like, why is this an article? Like, why is this an article? It's go ahead.
You know where we've come though, Luke. Again, it's all kind of piggybacks what I was just saying. Like we are in an era right now, like never before, right? And it's been over the past maybe 4, 5, 6 years, and that is it's media 24/7, 365 days a year, right? So like we even say it before podcasts. Sometimes people are like, slow news week. People kind of give IGN and Kotaku, Polygon, all those guys a lot of crap too when they have an article up and it's a headline that's just absolutely ridiculous. And you pick the headline that bothers you. And it's like, it's just a slow news week. The thing about it is back when we were all younger, if I can take everybody back, I don't care how old you are. If you go back even 10, 15 years, like the news used to be on at like 6 o'clock was your local news. 6:30 was the world news. That's the end of the news, right? Until 11 o'clock at night when you wanted to find out the weather. Other than that, that was it. Now you've got news and gaming news and world news 365, 24/7. And you know what?
True, yeah.
Luca, there's not enough news to really pique people's interest for that amount of time. So you kind of, what do? You find something and you bury into it and you make it an article, you make it an event, you make it a podcast. And, you hope that you make it interesting. I think that's where it comes to the influencer or the podcast host or the person on the news channel or the author to make it interesting for their audience. And if they aren't able to take a small news article that's during a slow news period and they can't make it interesting, well, then that's on that person. That's on the creator. But that's where we are right now. Look, everything is just like, sometimes we have these amazing weeks where we can't even cram it all into a 2-hour podcast, right? And then there's some weeks where we're like, does anybody have a topic? Like,
yeah, that's true.
Right? Hashtag help me.
It's like, true. That's true.
It is what it is, but that's where we are right now. And it's not going away. That's the future. And it's okay. One thing you can say is, I guess we'll never be bored. There's always something to listen to or something to read.
That's true. I mean, that's a good point. I am bored most of the time, though, but because since I'm mostly in the gaming space, unfortunately. Let me get the super chat from Enrique saying, Mooch, media bias. Hashtag
Brap. Yes, the great Brap. That's one of our great back and forths over.
He's about to spend his whole stimulus here.
I appreciate all
I'm here for it. You're here for it.
I appreciate all the support.
Thank you.
So let's see here. What he had some other questions like, will the CDPR lawsuit be an eye opener for the gaming industry going forward? I sure fucking hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The next gen, should that be the generation of delays? Should we be more? Should gamers be advocating for these games to be delayed instead of them just putting them out there and fixing them later? Guys?
In an ideal world, that would work, but we don't live in an ideal world. So, I mean, because depending on the company, they may have a deadline. We need you to get this game out by no less than the end of
that deadline.
The publisher.
Okay, and why does the publisher determine that deadline?
Investors.
investors.
Right. So like stop letting the investors who don't care anything about gaming, don't all they care about is the dollar amount that that they can make off of it in you in a particular quarter. Stop letting them dictate your business, because they don't understand the business. They're just their finance manager said you should invest in this.
Yeah.
Okay. That's about the long and short of it. Stop letting them dictate to you what you're doing. That's what EA has done for over a decade. And we see how EA is.
Unfortunately, that's not going to happen because they have to listen to the investors. Otherwise,
then they're going to keep taking L's like Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
when it comes to your stock and investors then being upset, like, hey, we demanded that you release this game. I'm mad because you were manipulating people and everything. I'm like, well, look, you wanted it out. It wasn't ready. What do you expect here? So it's like at some point you need to be a publisher that puts your foot down and says, look, I know you want this game to come out right now. It's not ready.
Unfortunately,
do you want it to be trash or do you want it to actually be good and we make a ton of money off of it?
Unfortunately, there isn't enough publishers that'll actually do that. They'll just be like, okay, we'll cave to the investors. So it's never going to happen, I don't think, because none of them are going to get a backbone all of a sudden. If they, a lot of these have been around for what? A lot of these companies, like EA's been around for like 20 years or whatever, probably more than that. If they ain't got a backbone by now, they're not going to get one. I mean,
anything could happen if you get some new blood in there. Okay, so all right. Let's see here. Let's see here. All right. What forgotten IPs can fit in the landscape of gaming today?
Ooh.
So come.
Quake.
Mech Warrior.
Mech Warrior is
still here. And no one cares.
It's still here.
I mean, actually decent, like.
Yeah, okay. I can.
Not a non-janky
hey, this Meta woke up and said, I want to play some Chrome Hounds. That's what you said.
Twisted Metal, I could see.
Yeah, Twisted Metal.
Yeah, Twisted Metal in a battle royale circumstance.
Or even a Vigilante 8, if you remember that.
Only you.
Hey, what? Am I that old?
No, I remember that game. I'm fucking with you.
All right.
Maybe I mean, listen, I know people don't want it, but I would like another Prince of Persia, like a good one.
Good one. Yeah, you're the Prince of Persia. I don't know if it's good
on the end.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you added that.
Whew. Yeah, I would like that. That would be dope. I would like
another boxing game, a real boxing game.
Yeah, another Fight Night.
Yeah,
another Dead Space, but we're kind of getting something similar in the Calypso protocol. So,
could they even fathom making a Bionic Commando for like now?
Woo,
could they even do something like that? That would
remember 360? That shit was trash.
That was awful.
It was bad.
Yes.
Me personally, I'd like to see the return of like Command and Conquer and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because that has a good place in my heart for me.
Maybe we can still get a StarCraft Ghost. I don't know. We'll see.
But the thing is, most of these games we're announcing come from EA, and EA ain't doing nothing with them. So
everybody want a black sequel. Everybody want a black sequel.
Yeah.
I'm about to mention the game that EA owns the IP of, Knights of the Old Republic. I'd like to see a nice.
Yeah, I'd love to see it, but EA just they're in it.
Knights was BioWare, right?
It is BioWare.
Wait, would you? Wait. Do you want to see
yeah.
BioWare?
Right. I would love it for it to come back. I don't know if I would love for BioWare to do it.
Oh, no. Actually, there is an out there, Slow-Mo, because number 2 was done by Obsidian.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, but then Obsidian isn't an independent developer anymore, so.
But we'd still get probably a good Knights of the Old Republic, though.
No, because Microsoft can't use the Star Wars license.
Yeah, they'd have to talk to Disney.
It's exclusive to EA, so yeah.
I want Legacy of Kain and Soul Reaver, man. That's what I want. Legacy of Kain. I don't know. Vampire games don't get no love, bro, and they always
they really don't.
They really
maybe
don't,
because like it's so pervasive in media that people just aren't interested in the game version of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But everyone know. What about zombies? We get a zombie game every 6 seconds.
That's what I was just gonna say all day, right? Everybody's so down on zombies. I hate zombies. And then people at the store, they're like, I'll take 2. Like, so like,
Right.
But you're right.
Back for Blood,
the vampire
literally.
game.
I'm
Nobody's
all in on Back for Blood. I mean, literally, day freaking when that
Yeah.
comes out, I'm playing it. I know, like, I got like 3 or 4 homies that's gonna be playing it right
Slow
along
on,
with.
are you kind of well versed in that area in that game, bro?
For what you mean, the Left 4 Dead games?
No, fuck no. Have you seen like footage of? Do you know anything about Back for Blood or whatever?
I tried to get
because I watched the gameplay slow-mo and
they had the closed alpha like right after they showed.
Were you gonna say you're not impressed with it all day?
Fuck no. Hell.
Like, well, let me, and I can see why. Like, it depends. Like, the first question that someone was like, "Oh, you were like no to." If you're a Left 4 Dead fan, this is the natural progression. I'm not saying it's gonna like wow you, but it's a natural progression of it. It's basically Left 4 Dead 3, but they can't name it that. So
yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, all day. If that's not your jam, you're like Left 4 Dead's not for me. This game is not for you. There's nothing to bring to the table.
1 and 2.
Yeah,
I did too. So, multiplayer was fun, but when I watched this game, I watched footage of it, and I was like,
you may want to play it, and they're probably going to do another closed beta and definitely some kind of open beta before it actually launches. Definitely try to get into one of those and play it, because for everyone who actually got a chance to play it, they said it is quintessential Left 4 Dead, which is, I mean, it's made by the developer of the previous 2 games.
But are they saying, is it good though?
They're saying it's good.
All right. Shout out to Sir X-Men saying, I want a new Midnight Club or Burnout, real Burnout.
Big facts.
Okay, cool. So let's see here. What else? He also asked, okay, let's see here. Ultimate life goals for the panel. I have nothing going for me. I have no aspirations for anything. So.
Ultimate life goal. Well, let's see. I mean, I'm gonna finish up my course here. Then I'm gonna, when everything dies down in America, I guess I'm going over there to, to throw out the degree. So I guess that's my current life goals. Is go to America for a few years.
Okay. Anyone else?
Professionally, I think I am right where I like to be as far as where my career is. I would say personally, life goal for me is raising some upstanding citizens into society. I'm hoping my kids are that when they become adults and go out in the world. So yeah.
Well, I thought one of your life goals was to stop judging. No, stop judging people at the park. I was so sure that.
No, that will continue.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
Me being a good dad, man, enjoying fatherhood, man. That's my goal. That's really what it's about. And finishing school for sure.
It's interesting. It's great to hear Slow-Mo and all day say that. I want to piggyback right on that. Say the same thing. Being a good dad. That's the one thing. A lot of people always looked at the negative to 2020. There's a lot of negatives to 2020. The silver lining I found 2 things. One was gaming related. One being family. Whether even if you're all trying to drive each other crazy right now, this was a lot of time we all had with our family, right? Like, think about it all day. When would you ever you go back 2019, go back 2018? Like, we didn't see our families the way we see them now, right? And that's a bonding time that you got where the kids get to know more about the parents get to know more about the kids. So there's a blessing there somewhere. There's a silver lining. And the thing with gaming, I thought that 2020 gave us that a lot of people don't really look at the silver. I'm trying to look at the silver lining here, was that you had casuals. I know people that just played Madden, just played Call of Duty. Now they're picking up a game like Last of Us, right? Or they're playing something else because they're home. They're stuck home. There's nothing to do, right? So they're expanding their horizons. So you took casuals and brought them to a mid-tier. You brought mid-tiers maybe to a hardcore, and you got the hardcore even more into it. So, like, my point being is gaming has taken a major step forward into social acceptance, right? It's a way to communicate right now. We all can't see each other. So what do? We get into a chat, we hang out, we game, we party. Sometimes you're not even gaming. Sometimes you're just having great conversation with friends. So gaming has taken a major leap forward, and for the family, like, to be able to hang out the way we've been able to hang out in these past, 10, 11 months, that's something that we would not have ever had that opportunity if we were in that busy world that just was spinning out of control before this happened. So yes, 2020 was an awful year. Things that have happened have been awful. Things really, really bad happened, but sometimes you got to step back and look at some of the silver linings, and I think that's 2 major ones. So shout out to Slow-Mo and all day for bringing that up too.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Okay, let's see here, and then Yobi wants to know, what are some steps that can be taken to improve aspects of one's life? Well, to stop making excuses for things not going well for you is a big thing for me. Like, at some point you're going to have to take responsibility and take initiative in regards to making your life better, you know, and doing things for yourself to improve yourself. You know what I mean? So that's generally how
I got advice for the chat too. Start doing more drugs. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. Like start adventuring a little bit, man.
Okay. Anyway.
No, I'm telling you, Luke, you smoke some weed, right? You'll be the most peaceful, the most calmest.
Every time you fucking smoke weed, you forget shit, okay?
Yeah,
so I don't want to
get that I'm angry.
Very
That's number
clear
one.
on how you're saying that, because plenty of people can take it like, hey, I'm gonna take some crystal meth.
No,
all day
about this.
Let's go to specifics. I said marijuana. You might want to pop a few shrooms once in a while. That's cool.
Oh my god!
I'm just putting it out here.
Every time, wake up in the
anytime all day is high, and I try to talk to him, it's a fucking disaster. So I'm just putting it out there. Okay, you know,
please don't do meth. That's not a good idea.
Scumcast does not advocate for this. Whatever.
It's too expensive.
It is.
Okay. Anyway. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Now, Ade, would you like to say some words about what is his name? MF Doom?
MF Doom. Oh yeah, shout out to MF Doom, man. R.I.P. Make sure you capitalize it when you say it. And he was definitely he was a rap enigma to me. You know, he was an enigma. He was definitely in the underground. One of the he didn't. Well, was he underground?
Yeah.
He was just in a kind of not. He was popular for being underground. You know what I mean? He was popular.
He's still underground though.
He was just very unique, very dope artist. He will be missed, man. Definitely got me through some tough times. Definitely gonna miss his work, man. Shout out to Doom.
Very rough year for rappers, I must say.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? For that to get announced on the last day of the year, that sucked. That kind of fucked my night up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys, I gotta roll. Y'all have a great weekend. Love you guys to life, and y'all peace out.
See you later, man. Love you too.
See you later, Slomo.
All right, so that's pretty much all I got, and that's all she wrote. You know, do you guys want anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I just linked a song to you and all day on Twitter, but
okay, I'll check it out.
You should check out. You'll like it. Oh, all day, hit me up on 14 because you're playing it on PlayStation, right?
PC.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because we could. Oh, damn, no, never mind. I'll have to talk to you after the show about it.
Yeah. We'll talk. Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's go ahead and go. Let's get out of here. So, Mooch, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Oh my God, Luca, thank you. This was a great show. Great that Singer stopped by. Good hanging out with Meta for the first time as well. You guys already know All Day might be the funniest dude I've ever met in my entire life.
Stop.
I'm not even kidding you. I'm going to E3 just to meet you. I'm not even kidding. So that's the truth right there. Luca, always, honestly, hashtag my Luca. You are fantastic. Luca, you coming into the community has made the community so much better. You've tied so many people together that people normally wouldn't talk. So thank you for doing what you do. I love this show. I love how dynamic it is. It changes week to week. It's gaming, it's music, it's hot takes, it's everything. So I want to say shout out to everybody that's on this panel every week, and some of the ones that aren't on the panel because they're working. Shout out to Gaming Forte. Great chat. And you guys can all check me out, the Mooch78 on YouTube and Twitch. And yeah, man. Thank you so much, Luca.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
Crossfire?
Crossfire, Friday night, 7 p.m. Appreciate that.
The reason I'm in the community is because of Mooch and Crap, honestly speaking. Because, Mooch was like, Luca, you should just get a Twitter account. I was like,
yes.
Mooch, I don't know. There's a lot of drama on Twitter. Oh, Luca, it'll be fine.
16,000 block accounts later. Yeah. You know what I mean? Hey, shout out to Mooch for coming through. Shout out to my Parmesan pimp. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Parmesan pimp,
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so but yeah, I am always really grateful for everything you've done for me, Mooch. So thank you so much for coming on. Hashtag my Italian Eminem. Yes. But I appreciate you coming through. All right, Singer, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you very much, Luca, for the invite. Great panel as always. Pleasure hanging out with everyone. Great to see Mooch again. Chatting on the cast. Yeah, great shit.
Right.
Hey, Singer, never.
Oh.
Go ahead, Meta. My bad.
What's up? Tip your waitress.
You don't know where he at.
Your outro, dude. Yeah, okay, it's your metaphorical oracle.
It's a metaphorical oracle. No,
You guys
hey, thank you for coming on. Thank you to everybody who came out. You know what it is. Hey, happy New Year to everybody. I hope you guys had a safe holidays with your family and friends, and stay classy out there, YouTube.
All right, cool. All day.
Yeah, happy New Year to everybody, man. Hope everybody has a good and successful year, and I know we will here. So enjoy.
Shout out to you
And
guys.
don't listen to all day. Don't do meth.
I didn't say meth. Y'all some crackheads, bro.
All right. Once again, if you guys can hit the like button on your ways out, shout out to everyone in the chat who came through. We got up to, I think, 152 people or so, which is phenomenal considering how dead it's been and there's like nothing to talk about. But you guys came out and I appreciate it. I'm sure a lot of that was Mooch's influence too. So thank you, Mooch. Let's see here. Shout out to everyone who listens later and leaves comments. Shout out to my channel members. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everyone. Shout out to all the super chat support. Thank you so much, guys. These are some rough times, and just the fact that you guys are here, just hanging out with us means a lot to me. I remember I did a random stream a couple days ago, and I had like 90 people in there, and we were talking about absolutely fucking nothing. I was like, please give me something to talk about. I was Phil Spencer in here just repeating myself. So
Damn.
Hey, let us know in the comments after the show, or even now, if you guys like the question stuff.
yeah.
Maybe
All
keep
right.
that going.
Oh, Erodimus says shout out to making our afternoons. Thank you. Boo! Thank you.
Yeah. We try, man.
Pong says fantastic show. Appreciate all of you on the channel. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. John said great show. Luca and Scumcast. Thank you guys. Sly Crow says questions were great. Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Good questions. Thank you.
We will catch you next week for another episode of Scumcast, but I will not be doing a show on the 16th because I'm going to California to see my mom. So
Nice.
yes. So there'll be a show on the 9th, the 23rd, the 30th, just not on the 16th. So all right, I'll catch you guys later for another episode of Scumcast. All right, bye.
Peace.
Peace.